All right, guys, let me ask you something. How does a company go from making machines that weave cloth to becoming the biggest car company in the world? And when I say biggest, I'm talking about a giant that often sells more cars than anyone else, a title they recently held over competitors like the Volkswagen Group. This is a wild story, y'all. It's about relentless innovation, starting in a little workshop in Japan and growing into a global force that's literally building the future of how we get around. We're going to break down how they pulled it off and what they've got cooking in the kitchen for the next few decades. This is the insane evolution of Toyota. See, our story doesn't even start with a car. It starts with a loom, for making fabric. Back in the early 1900s, a man named Sakichi Toyoda was this incredible inventor, a genius in Japan's textile industry. But his son, Kiichiro, he had a different dream. He saw what was happening with cars in America and Europe and convinced his dad to let him start an automobile division in 1933. And just a few years later, in 1936, their first passenger car, the Model AA, came off the line. A year after that, in 1937, the Toyota Motor Corporation was officially spun off into its own company. Now you're probably wondering why Toyota and not Toyota? Listen to this, y'all. They changed it because in Japanese, Toyota is written with 8 brush strokes, and 8 is a lucky number. It was also a way to create a new identity, separate from the family's farming past and looking straight into the future. But it was the time after the war that really forged Toyota's soul, toughness. In 1951, they built a prototype for a rugged go-anywhere truck called the Toyota Jeep BJ. It was so tough, it was the first vehicle to ever climb to the 6th station of Mount Fuji. A few years later, in 1954, they gave it a new name to compete with England's Land Rover, the Land Cruiser. That vehicle became a global legend and built their reputation for making cars that just don't quit. All right, so Japan's economy is getting back on its feet, and Toyota starts looking at the rest of the world. They made their first jump into the American market in 1957. But guys, it was a total flop. The Toyopet Crown just wasn't built for American highways. But here's the thing about Toyota. Instead of packing up and going home, they adapted. That became their superpower. They also perfected this revolutionary way of making things called the Toyota production system. It was all about just-in-time manufacturing and Kaizen, which is just a fancy word for continuous improvement. Basically, it was about eliminating all waste and constantly making things better, which set a new standard for quality and efficiency that everyone else had to chase. Then the 1970s oil crisis hits, and this was the moment that changed everything. Suddenly, the whole world needed smaller cars that didn't guzzle gas, and guess who was ready? Toyota. The Corolla, a small, reliable, fuel-sipping car, became a massive hit almost overnight. It wasn't just a car, it was the right car at the exact right time, and it put Toyota on the map for good. By the 80s, Toyota wasn't just playing the economy game anymore. Nah, they were ready to challenge the big dogs. They wanted to take on the luxury kings like Mercedes and BMW. So in 1989, they launched a whole new brand, Lexus. It was a huge gamble, but it paid off, proving they could build cars that were just as prestigious as anything out of Europe. But their craziest innovation was still being cooked up in the kitchen. In 1997, after years of secret development, they showed the world the Prius, the first mass-produced hybrid car on the planet. Ain't that kind of crazy though? While everyone else was all in on gasoline, Toyota was already building the bridge to an electric future. It completely redefined the industry and made them the leaders in environmental tech. As we get into the new millennium, drop a comment below and let me know what your favorite classic Toyota is. I want to hear the stories. So the 21st century hits and the Prius becomes a household name. Toyota saw this and just doubled down, putting their hybrid tech into almost their entire lineup. They became masters of using robots and automation in their factories, which just pushed their legendary quality and speed even further. But this was also when Toyota showed they weren't just a one-trick pony. While hybrids were their main thing, They were also exploring other roads. They launched the Mirai, a car powered by hydrogen fuel cells that emits nothing but water. This was a signal to the automotive world. They call it the multi-pathway approach, investing in hybrids, plug-in hybrids, and hydrogen all at once. It shows they believe the road to a carbon-neutral future isn't just a single lane. It's a strategy that helps solidify their position as the world's largest, and you could argue most forward-thinking car company. So what's next? This is where the story gets really good. Toyota's vision for the future goes way beyond just cars. They've made a massive commitment to be completely carbon neutral by 2050, and that goal is driving everything they do from here on out. This means a huge push into battery electric vehicles. And get this, they're planning for 30 new EV models by 2030. But their real game changer might be the solid-state battery. Toyota is aiming for a 2027 to 2028 release for this tech, which they say could lead to a revolutionary 10-minute fast charging time and a huge boost in range. And their ambition doesn't even stop with the cars. Right now, at the base of Mount Fuji, the first phase of something called Woven City is now complete. It's a living laboratory, and the first residents are expected to start moving in during 2025. This place will be a real-world test for self-driving cars, robotics, and smart AI technologies, all connected. It's a blueprint for the smart cities of tomorrow, where people, buildings, and cars are all talking to each other. When you add in their continued work on hydrogen, you see a future where clean energy isn't just for cars, but for whole societies. From weaving looms to literally weaving the fabric of our future cities, Toyota's evolution is just a classic story of adapting and refusing to follow just one path. They didn't just build cars, they built a legacy of innovation that's still unfolding right now. So, what are your thoughts on this? Do you think this multi-pathway approach is brilliant, or should they go all in on EVs like everyone else? Please drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you like seeing how these old guards get challenged and evolve, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Thanks for watching.